Assalamualaikum and welcome back to my video presentation on problem-based learning. In the previous discussion on the PBL curriculum and educational models, we have identified three main phases of PBL: the problem design phase, the learning cycle phase, and the assessment phase. The problem design phase is often seen as a behind-the-scenes process, concerns with the task of a teacher as a problem designer. The learning cycle, on the other hand, is considered as the real learning scenes where teachers and learners work together to accomplish the learning outcomes. As a facilitator, the teacher triggers the learning by presenting the problem scenario and facilitates the ongoing learning process. Students take the problem as a base and learning direction, learn actively through the collaborative inquiry process, self-directed learning, and reflective learning to achieve the intended learning outcomes. Studies on various PBL models indicate that there are three main stages of PBL cycle. The inquiry stage, the self-directed learning stage, and the reflective learning stage. The stages come alive after the authentic problem scenario based on the real-world setting presented or assigned to the students. Working in the group, they then embark on these three learning stages. The first stage of the PBL learning cycle is the diagnostic process, as it was known in medical education, or inquiry process, or problem space construction, or brainstorming process, as it was generally known in other discipline areas. This stage consists of a variety of collaborative learning activities, including the introduction of a problem scenario, brainstorming and knowledge scaffolding, facts identification, ideas generation, learning issues classification, as well as planning design for further learning. The second stage is self-directed learning. At this stage, students will explore knowledge and information from various sources individually as well as in a group. Learning activities at this stage are intended to understand more about the problem scenario from various perspectives, to develop a new understanding of the content and context of learning, to improve the learning skills and mastery of essential skills. The third stage is reflective learning, which refers to the learner's engagement in the intellectual activities to explore their experience directed towards new understanding and appreciations. It involves the metacognition process, the thinking about thinking, the knowledge that the students have of their own cognitive processes. It is the ability to control their thinking processes through various strategies such as organizing, monitoring, and adapting. One of the most challenging tasks to implement PBL at a higher learning institution is to develop a proper learning cycle that carries these three main stages. Diverse discipline areas, different levels of students' learning mastery, lack of facilities, and moral support, as well as untrained and inexperienced PBL practitioners, are among the problems facing institutions of higher learning. However, better training facilities and program, clear institutional goals and vision, administrative and leadership support enable many institutions to overcome these problems. Such of the successful institutions in implementing PBL does not only produce many PBL practitioners, but also new models and innovative learning processes. Most institutions develop their unique learning process and model to adapt to their institutional learning goals and educational philosophy, as well as to cover these three main stages. Linda Wee, 2004, discussed in details some of the models that carried these three main stages. I have shared the two models, the Temasek Polytechnic and the Republic Polytechnic of Singapore in lesson 10. In this short presentation, I will be sharing another 6 models. Since the models had already proposed over 15 years ago, there might be minor or even major changes in current models in practice. Among the models discussed by Linda Wee in her book is from the School of Medicine's Southern Illinois University, United States. The inquiry stage in these models include 1. Introduce members, set the learning climate, set the learning objectives, reading the problem, identify facts, generate and explore ideas, identify learning issues, and finally propose an action plan. In the self-directed learning stage, there are 6 steps involved. One is commit to the most probable outcome. 2, identify resources. 3, conduct self-directed learning. 4, critique resource. 5, reassess problem based on an acquisition of new knowledge. And finally, 6, solve the problem. In the reflective learning stage, students were provided with the opportunity to conduct peer and self-assessment. In the second model is from Stanford University, United States. The inquiry stage in this model includes 1, students confront a problem. 2, in groups, they organize prior knowledge and attempt to identify the nature of the problem. 3, students raise questions on what they do not understand. And 4, students design a plan to solve the problem and identify the resources they need. In the self-directed learning stage, students begin to gather information as they work towards solving the problem. In the reflective learning stage, facilitators guide by asking questions. The third model is from McMaster University, Canada, in chemical engineering. The inquiry stage in this model includes 1, explore a problem, create a hypothesis, and identify issues. 2, try to solve the problem based on what students know. 3, identify lack of knowledge that is needed to solve problems. 4, prioritize learning needs, set learning goals, and allocate resources for self-directed learning. In the self-directed learning stage, 1, students conduct self-directed learning. 2, share new knowledge with group members. And 3, apply knowledge to solve problems. In the reflective learning stage, students provide feedback on their learning experience. The fourth model is from Maastricht University, the Netherlands. The inquiry stage in this model includes 1, clarify unknown terms and concepts in problem. 2, define the problems. 3, analyze the problem, produce explanations, and engage prior knowledge. 4, critique proposed explanations and produce a coherent description of the process that underlines the problem. And finally, 5, formulate learning issues. In the self-directed learning stage, students conduct self-directed learning. And in the reflective learning stage, students share findings with group and integrate knowledge into a comprehensive explanation. The fifth model is from the University of Newcastle, Australia, in construction management. The inquiry stage in this model includes 1, students are given a problem. 2, clarify the problem using online resources. 3, identify the problem. 4, identify learning issues. In the self-directed learning stage, students 1, conduct self-directed learning. 2, apply and submit written reports. In the reflective learning stage, there are 3 important steps. 1, produce a self-assessment checklist with criteria on what, why, and how the problem is solved and submit with report. 2, facilitator gives feedback. 3, students resubmit based on the feedback. The sixth model is from the Queensland University of Technology, Australia, in information technology. The inquiry stage in this model includes 1, analyze the problem with initial reactions to the problem, clarify terms and concepts, define the problem, and establish the scope of the problem. 2, activate prior knowledge. And 3, formulate learning objectives. In the self-directed learning stage, students 1, research learning objectives, conduct an independent study. 2, report back, synthesize and test acquired information. And 3, analyze additional issues. In the reflective learning stage, students wrap up the learning process, review their outcomes, synthesize, and conclude the learning experience. Again, PBL is not one size fits all. PBL practitioners should not bind themselves with certain well-known models without considering their own needs, skill mastery, teaching experience, different discipline areas, students' background, facilities, and institutional requirements, and other emerging issues related to the technological advancement, social development, as well as the new trend in education. Thank you very much for your time and kind attention to my presentation. Viewers who are new here, please subscribe to my channel so you get more notifications on my upcoming videos. And don't forget to like and share this video. If you have something to share, please leave the comment below. Have a great day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.